Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by the ever-inquisitive Jenny.
Hey Mark, always a pleasure to be here. And today, we've got something times exciting to dive into. Quantum computing's taking another leap, and it's all thanks to some seriously cool physics.
Oh man, this is the cool part. We're talking about Microsoft's new Majorana 1 chip. And before anyone gets intimidated by the name, trust me, it's more fascinating than scary. It's all about topological qubits.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight. Topological qubits? That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. What are they, and how do they differ from, times regular times qubits?
So basically what's happening is, regular qubits, the ones we've talked about before, are super sensitive. Think of them like soap bubbles. Beautiful, but easily popped by the slightest disturbance. That's what we call decoherence. And it's an asterisk huge times headache in quantum computing.
Right, because those disturbances introduce errors, and errors in quantum calculations are a big no-no.
Exactly. Now, topological qubits are different. They store information in a fundamentally different way, using these, exotic particles called Majorana zero modes. It's kind of like P. You know when you braid hair? The information about the braid is in the asterisk pattern, not in any single strand.
I think I'm following. So, the information is encoded in the asterisk way times these particles are arranged, making it much more resistant to outside interference. Like, if one strand of the braid gets messed up, the overall braid is still recognizable.
You got it! That's the beauty of it. This inherent stability is what makes topological qubits so promising. Less decoherence means fewer errors. And asterisk that times means we can build more powerful and reliable quantum computers.
That's fascinating. But how does it actually work? What are these chips made of?
Here's the thing about the materials. They're using something called topoconductors. These are made with indium arsenide, which is a semiconductor, and aluminum, a superconductor. They combine these materials, cool them down to almost absolute zero, and that's where the magic happens.
Almost absolute zero? Sounds chilly. So these materials, at these extreme temperatures, create these Majorana particles?
Precisely. These Majorana zero modes appear at the ends of these specially engineered nanowires. And those are the building blocks of the topological qubits. I was just reading about this, and apparently the arrangement creates protected quantum states. It is wild!
Okay, so Microsoft calls this the Majorana 1 chip. What makes this particular chip such a big deal?
Well, it's the first operational quantum chip that's actually using these topological qubits in a way that's showing real promise. It's not just theoretical anymore. They're doing times.
And I've heard something about scalability. Is that part of the breakthrough?
Oh yeah, that's a asterisk major times part. See, with traditional qubits, scaling up, adding more qubits to increase computing power, is incredibly difficult. It's like building a skyscraper out of those soap bubbles. But with topological qubits, they're talking about potentially fitting a asterisk million times qubits on a single chip.
A million times? That's a lot. How does that compare to what other companies are doing in quantum computing?
It's a huge leap. Most other approaches, like the superconducting qubits that Google and IBM are working on, are still struggling with error rates and the sheer physical space needed to house all the qubits and cooling systems. They are talking massive areas, whereas this could fit on your desk.
So, smaller, more stable, and potentially times more powerful. What kind of problems could a computer with 1,000,000 qubits solve?
Think about things that are incredibly complex to model, like simulating molecules to design new drugs, or creating new materials with specific properties. We're talking about potential breakthroughs in medicine, materials, science, even things like breaking down microplastics in the environment.
Wow. Self-healing materials, new ways to tackle pollution, that's a pretty amazing future. I can already hear our listeners thinking about all the possibilities.
Right? And it's not just about scientific research. Think about logistics, optimizing delivery routes, financial modeling. The potential applications are incredibly broad.
But with all this potential power, there are bound to be some concerns, right? I'm thinking about security, for example. Could quantum computers break existing encryption?
That's a valid point, and it's definitely something people are working on. Quantum computers could, theoretically, crack many of the encryption methods we use today. That's why there's a whole field dedicated to developing quantum-resistant cryptography. new encryption methods that even quantum computers can't break.
So it's kind of an arms race between developing quantum computers and developing ways to protect ourselves from them?
In a way, yes. But it's also about being proactive and preparing for the future. It's better to be ahead of the curve than scrambling to catch up.
Okay, let's talk about some of the challenges. I mean, this all sounds amazing, but there must be some hurdles to overcome, right?
For sure. One of the big ones is verification. How do we know, times for sure, that these topological qubits are behaving the way we expect them to? There's been some controversy in the past about Majorana particles, so rigorous testing is crucial.
Right, because this is such a new and complex field, there's always the possibility of misinterpreting results or making claims that can't be fully substantiated.
Exactly. And that's where things like peer review and independent verification come in. Microsoft is working with DARPA, the research arm of the U.S. Department of Defense. And that collaboration is a big part of validating the technology.
That makes sense. It's not just about making the breakthrough, it's about proving it works reliably.
And there's the whole competitive aspect, too. Microsoft isn't the only company working on quantum computing. Google, IBM, and others are pursuing different approaches. It's a bit of a race to see who can build the first truly fault-tolerant quantum computer.
So it's a fascinating mix of collaboration and competition, all pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Where do you see this going in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Well, Microsoft has a roadmap, and they're aiming for that million-qubit milestone. If they can achieve that, and if they can keep the error rates low, we could see some truly applications within that time frame. It's not going to be overnight, but the progress is definitely accelerating.
It's exciting, and a little daunting, to think about the potential impact. It feels like we're on the cusp of a major technological shift.
We are. And that's why it's so important to understand these technologies, not just the technical details, but also the broader implications. And that's what we try to do here, right?
Bringing the quantum realm down to earth. Thanks for breaking it down for us, Mark. As always, you've made a complex topic a lot more accessible.
My pleasure, Jenny. And thanks to everyone for listening. We'll be back next week with more explorations into the world of tech.
Until then, stay curious.